The earliest thing I heard about doppelgangers was that if you see your doppelganger, you're going to die.
My name is Utt.
My name is Raihan.
My name is Wayne.
My name is Kyle.
And this is Tales from Incredible Tales, a show where we look back at the popular MediaCorp horror series.
We're joined today again by Utt, the host of Incredible Tales from across its 13-year run.
I'm back. Hi. All right, let's bring on the stories.
Oh, yeah. In every episode of Tales from Incredible Tales, we explore a different theme and tie it back to the classic Incredible Tales episodes.
For this episode, we're looking at ghostly doppelgangers. This episode's theme was inspired by Mistaken Identity from Season 5. A young woman named Sylvia comes to Singapore to study. Soon after getting settled in, she starts to get mistaken for someone else. Is she just a really good actress leading a double life? Or is it something more sinister?
Let's take a look.
She was wearing the exact same clothes as I was. It was like she also had the same height, same build, same hair. It was as if I was looking into a mirror. Except she had a different look in her eyes.
I know like doppelganger scares you.
Yeah. I don't know why we decided on this theme and I was okay with it. I clearly wasn't thinking straight. Yeah, doppelgangers. It's like, okay, you know how in our previous episode, mirrors, I put them on an incredible scale of 8.5 to 9. It's doppelgangers, that's
So
why.
what's the incredible skill for doppelgangers for everyone?
Oh, mine's going to be similar, 8.5 to 9.
But that's one. There.
Don't you dare. Art's already done this way too many times this season.
No, I'm fine with doppelgangers. In fact, I've always Googled who looks like me.
So Art, have you ever had like any doppelganger situation happen to you before?
No, I think if we're like on a rating scale, like if I was to just rate right now, it's probably like a 0. Like for you, mirrors are 0, right? For it doesn't have any effect on me whatsoever, or any effect in like seeing a reenactment or a story on it. I find other layers to it.
For me, it's 0. If I see a doppelganger on me, I'll go and talk to it. Yeah.
You will go and talk to the doppelganger.
I'm not afraid of myself. I will confront myself. Why did you do this? Why did you make this choice back in the year? Blah 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 blah. Why?
I like how you're approaching a doppelganger as if it's just a multiverse version of you.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'll probably say hi. Hi, you look like me. No, I look like you.
Hi, run.
Maybe. But this is interesting because doppelgangers can sometimes happen in dreams. I don't know. Like you dream of yourself in another part of the world. Wow. Like you're doing something else, not this, and then when you woke up, you're here. And then I've heard people saying that if you dream of such a thing, it means your doppelgangers are probably there doing whatever they're doing.
I see it like just watching the reenactment from a very psychological point of view, which is like let's say we delve into like mental illness or like schizophrenia. I actually saw it as, well, it's a version of herself that she sees herself in her mind. And it's like, and the mind can be extremely powerful. So it's like, literally we see 2 and she literally sees 2, but it's not physically there. I mean, that's sort of the core of schizophrenia and people who go through it. So I find that very interesting how that would be linked to the spirit world, you know, because there is some link to that. You know, because sometimes people who do have certain illnesses is because their energies are so low that they're absorbing a lot of like unwanted energies. So that brings them into certain mental states. So it's interesting for me to kind of delve into that, the gray lines between like what is a doppelganger in a physical sense and what is a doppelganger in a mental mind sense.
Yeah. Agree.
That's true. It
Yeah.
could be like in this case of her, probably just her imagination.
Yeah, and to go further, let's say if she's, and I don't think it's even imagination because like schizophrenia and mental illness, it's at a level where they don't even think they're imagining. It's like, it's very real. So let's say if that's the case, then it's actually just one person, but she's putting on two different personas. And it could be that in real life scenarios, people around her might be seeing the same person, but like she's putting on two different personalities. Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know what the origin of me being freaked out by the double is. Because I have actually thought about this, especially after the last episode with the mirror, and I can't figure it out. I think it might have been one of those things where the earliest thing I heard about doppelgangers was that if you see your doppelganger, you're going to die.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is
so
it a
that's
belief?
that's the thing. I don't know where the belief comes from exactly, but it was one of the things that always stuck with me about doppelgangers. Because something similar happened to somebody I knew.
Oh.
In real life, where he had come back and he saw his brother at home, and he went, "Oh hey," and his brother just stared at him, just glared at him angrily, and didn't say a word, and then just walked into his bedroom and slammed the door. And so this guy that I knew, he asked his mom, "Hey, my brother's being really grumpy. What's up with that?" And the mom said, "Your brother's not here. Your brother's been in Pulau Ubin for days." And from what I remember, apparently his brother was either falling sick or experiencing something strange while he was on Pulau Ubin at the same time that this person saw his brother's doppelganger as well. So
Right.
I remember hearing that story early on. Like, I think, well, not early on, I was probably in my teens, but by then I already knew about this whole thing of doppelgangers being an omen of evil. So that's kind of stuck with me. And I don't know why that particular thing has stuck with me more than a lot of other strange phenomenon that I've heard of.
Yeah. I think one of the beliefs in Malay folklore is that spirits can actually take a shape of a human being.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do that because for the purpose of probably scaring others,
Yep.
haunt others.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you know somebody's very close to you, for example, Carl, but there might be another spirit who might look like Carl just to scare you.
Yeah, like that's not me, right?
Yeah, that's not
Lyle.
So I also have a story like it was told to me by my secondary school classmate. So he likes to fish with his friend, especially in the midnight, because sometimes the high tide comes in at night. So you go to East Coast to fish, and it's always the two of them. And then I think that night he wasn't having any luck, couldn't get any fish, and then he packed up and then left with his friend. They live quite close to East Coast, so they can walk. But throughout the walk, right, the friend was super quiet. Then he keep talking to the friend, like it's like, your friend is not in the mood, but you keep telling your friend stuff. Then your friend's like, or just quiet. And then suddenly he received an SMS. Like that was back in the day, right?
Yeah.
SMS. And it's like, "Where are you?" And then the friend that's with him, right, continued walking. And then he called. And the friend's like, "Where are you? Well, I've been looking for you. I'm at the jetty. Where did you leave? Like, why did you go home?" It's like, "I'm still fishing, Where are you? Did you go to the toilet?" And then at this point, it's like, "Hey, you don't joke with me. Like, you don't joke with me. This is not funny." They put down the phone, walk right next to the guy, and the guy just turned to him and say, "You already know what I am, right?"
Man.
And the fact that he actually went back to that guy. And
I know.
Yeah.
Excuse me, that kind of thing.
No, because he was like, he ran up to him. He's like, "You think this is funny? This is not
Right.
funny. It's at night. It's not funny." Then he's like, "You already know what I am."
I can't deal with that. Like,
Okay, but personally, have any one of you seen your own doppelgangers?
In dreams, yes. Yeah, in dreams. But it's like, it's very weird. It's like it's the way where you are from the point of view of like the camera.
Yeah.
And then you look at yourself doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of like that. But then it's also in a form of deja vu, where it will happen after.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the weird part lah. Yeah.
Likewise.
I'm similar to Kyle, but I guess I don't term it doppelganger. I just term it like I see a version of myself. Because I guess like for me, I guess when it's termed doppelganger, it's basically like an evil version of another entity that looks like you. But I think for me, if I don't term it doppelganger, I've in deja vu or in dreams, I see versions of myself where it could come in the form of a deja vu where I was here before. This feels very familiar. It's like it's happening all over again, and then it happens. So I don't think that would be termed doppelganger. And also in dreams of like seeing versions of myself that look strange, that I can't quite grasp. I had this like really vivid dream of being in a cabin, and it's like at first like this figure had his back towards me, and it was like similar to Kyle, it was like a camera point of view, and I'm walking behind him. I was in a lucid state, so I actually was able to kind of gear myself to do certain things in that particular dream, where I walked over to the wall because I saw all these pictures, and as I walked closer to the pictures, I could see myself in pictures, but I didn't recognize myself. It's like an older version of myself, and then as I was walking, then the figure turned around, and it was myself looking older with like white hair, very wise. Eventually I woke up, and when I woke up I realized that it's not an older version of myself, it's actually a version of myself now that just looks different.
So you saw your variant.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was very strange. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, speaking of that, now they've mentioned variant, there is a belief in Malay folklore that we are actually living in 7 dimensions. Right now. As we're speaking, there's another 7 dimensions that is circulating around us right now. So there is a possibility that we have 7 other versions from other 7 dimensions.
Nice.
And we actually were living together with them right now.
Is there like a particular term in Malay that's termed or called?
Just 7 dimensions.
Just 7 dimensions.
But I'm not sure what are the other dimensions like. But all I know is that, have you heard of Bunyan?
Yeah, orang bunyan.
So that's another dimension. It's like a spirit world
Fairies.
where it's like fairies. Yeah.
Fairies. Okay.
Yeah,
So
like
they've
fays,
heard stories where back in the days, if you were pregnant with your first child, when you give birth, you have to close all the windows and doors of the house because the fairies loves firstborn child.
Then they will
So
take
they
it,
take
right?
it and then they bring it back to their dimension to raise up as a child. So hence your child now becomes part of the fairy world.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I feel like if we're going to go into the focus of doppelgangers, it is possible that these doppelgangers, for particular people who are experiencing these situations where it's probably from a realm or a version that is more dark that shows up,
Yeah.
It's funny that, the Bunyan have that, there's that Bunyan idea of, a fairy coming in and then stealing the firstborn child. I think I'm probably getting it wrong, I think it's Irish or Gaelic or something, where they have the changelings. So they come in, they steal the baby.
That's
and then,
true.
Yeah. And then a fairy takes the baby's place.
That's true.
Yeah.
Coming back, I mean, I'm studying theater in Los Angeles right now. So one of the plays that I had to dive deep into was an Irish play.
Oh.
And it was particularly about the fairies and the spirits and the ghosts in that particular town. It's so interesting. It's so interesting how they have their own beliefs in fairies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fairies is like, it's very huge there.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fairies in the belief is they guard the land. They're very intricate and integral to all parts of people's lives in Ireland.
So it's interesting that they actually believe in fairies because in Malay folklore we believe in Bunyan, which is also fairies. Yeah.
And when we think of the word fairies lightly, it's like fairies, like
we think it's
Tinkerbell.
but like
No, bro.
no, it's like it's much deeper.
I've seen a horror short film that is all killer fairies. They look all like, like very nice outside, right? But they actually kill humans.
Oh, wow.
and then eat them or something. It's quite dark.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So doppelgangers.
Supernatural properties have been applied to doppelgangers around the world. There's the Ka in ancient Egypt, the Vardoga in Norse mythology. Chinese folklore sometimes associates them with jiangshi. Why do you think the supernatural double has traveled so well?
Jiangshi is the first time I heard, the hopping vampire. Didn't know it was like a double thing.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either as well.
Yeah.
But it's apparently a thing where they're always associated with them.
While you could control a hopping vampire with your own incantations. I mean, it's shown in the movies, it's shown in the Hong Kong movies, Mr. Vampire. So you can actually control the corpse. So that you can do an incantation and then you can get the hopping vampires to follow every single movement that you do. So the legend of the hopping vampire is that in ancient China, when people died, they usually died from far from their hometown. And then it's very expensive to hire a horse carriage to carry the bodies back to their hometowns. So they will hire Taoist priests who are trained in necromancy. So they would actually use certain incantations to bring back the body. So the body can actually rise and move, but they can only jump because they are stiff. These are all just rumors. So then they will gather a whole bunch of them and then they will do the incantation. So they will double the Taoist priest movement. So when the Taoist priest jump, they jump. So the Taoist priest will hop all the way back to the village. And then then they will do their last rites with the family. So it's actually a job. But the more debunked theory is that these are just people acting as vampires to scare off the living because they were trafficking drugs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Actually, quite an impressive scam that they're running.
Yeah. because they will have something, they will say something like, oh, beware of the dead. Please avoid your gaze because the gate is the dead is passing through. So they only do it at night. Yeah. So the double thing, I guess that's how it came from.
All right.
But it's really weird. Imagine you do an incantation, then you move, right? You scratch your head. The jiangshi behind you also scratch your head. That would be quite weird, right?
I'm just picturing me being very clumsy, a juncture just tripping down constantly.
Yeah.
And he has to hop some more. It's worth it. I mean, we talked before about energies, positive energy and negative energy. So it's almost like, what if your negative energy took a form itself. It's your particular negative energy. It took a form itself. So I think, at least for me, I don't know about the ancient cultures, but at least for me, that whole dark twin, the dark side of yourself, that frightens me. So I think maybe that's why it might have had a resonance with ancient cultures.
I think the intrigue in it is if you just look at twins, there's so much intrigue in people who are born as twins and how they connect to each other. The example that you gave in regards to the brother and then and he was sick, but then he wasn't physically there. There's that intrigue in how we connect, and then it's it becomes even more closer to you when it's a version of yourself in front of you that looks like you, talks like you, sounds like you.
Yeah.
So I think that resonates across any culture and any traditions and any times, that if you're faced with a physical version of yourself that's tangible, then it's going to be quite interesting. Yeah.
It's happened quite a few times before, actually. My family, my parents' place particularly, because my parents' place have the ancestral tablet, which is all the deceased relatives, and they used to live in their house also. So sometimes, not saying that it's haunted, sometimes weird things happen. So I remember particularly two incidences. One was where I was playing on the computer, and I was just chilling in my room. I went out for a drink. Then my dad was like, I thought your sister is sitting right beside me. And I saw my sister sitting right beside him. Then turns out my sister was in the room all along, because my room was dark, so I couldn't see my sister. My sister was just using her phone. I was like, yeah, I thought I saw my sister. I said, no, it wasn't your sister. Then straight away, I drink the water. I switch off my computer. I go to sleep. I was like, what the hell is that?
Man.
Then after that, he went to check. Then he was like, oh, I think your aunt's death anniversary is coming up. I think that was her. Because she used to live in their house. So I don't know. That was weird. And there was another time, actually last year, then we were there like as a family. And then my uncle was in the room, like just reading newspaper or something. And then everybody was leaving the house already, going to the market. Then my dad asked, where's your uncle? In the toilet. I think one of my relatives said, in the toilet. Because I saw him walk in the toilet. Then we were like, no, nobody's in the toilet. Then I walked to the toilet, checked. Nobody. There was no one in the toilet. But he said he saw someone walk in the toilet. Someone who looked like my uncle walk into the toilet. But my uncle is like in the room. He's like, no, I'm just reading my newspaper here. So who was that? And then I was like, Dad, you need to check whether the house is haunted or not. He said, no lah, I'm pretty sure it's just like deceased relatives. But don't know why they take on the looks of the living lah. Maybe that's their way of cloaking. Or maybe that's like another reality. It's like you unveil a little bit of another reality, or you unveil a little bit of the other side of things.
Yeah.
Like it could be like a portal that's like kind of between two dimensions or something like that.
Yes.
What to add on to what Kyle's saying.
So Wayne's doppelganger, Dr. Melgill, says that the doppelganger in this episode was just Sylvia being highly intuitive and manipulating events so that her father could be saved. What do you think of his reasoning? Maybe we should ask Wayne first.
Yeah.
Oh God! Now I really wish I had the hat and the blazer. He's wearing a tie in that photo. I like his reasoning just because it helps me deal with the episode. So that going back to what you were saying about how it's you're seeing your doppelganger, but it's not a physical doppelganger. It's a mental doppelganger. That A makes the episode a lot more interesting, but also B it's slightly less scary for me now. So I'm going to strongly agree with my doppelganger on this one.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to tap on with what you have mentioned earlier, where, it could be a mental condition, like, so when you're hallucinating. So it could be that. So he's coming in a perspective where it could be more than, maybe instead of a spirit disturbing you, but it could be your mental state. Because, she's going through quite a probably high stress moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I because I brought it up earlier. I'm definitely on the same page.
Yeah.
I feel like it's sort of like a coping mechanism where she's kind of put herself in a different gear.
Yeah.
And then she's created this doppelganger to handle the situation. And the only way she can handle it if she's the opposite, complete, like a different version of herself.
Yeah. For me, I'm on the other side of the fence where I think that this could be supernatural or something that is string theory, like an alternate reality that somehow she can only see it, which would be weird. Normally, I am quite against horror shows taking the approach like, it's on your mind. I think that's quite lazy. But in that sense, for this particular episode, I thought that was quite interesting that they played on this fact. Maybe she's the only one who can see this doppelganger and it's driving her nuts, like literally nuts. And it could be the sense of like, okay, because we are of the same person. Your spirit and my spirit is tangled. So therefore I can see you. Yeah. So I like to believe that she is being haunted by herself.
Yeah.
From another dimension that she's already dead.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that would be
Wow.
quite creepy. Imagine yourself, let's say, hey, I'm already dead in this dimension, but can you help you so that you will not die? Something like that.
Wow.
That is very interesting too.
Yeah.
That's like sort of like unfinished business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like the movie?
Yeah.
Nice.
So this question is for everyone. If you could blame something you've done on a ghostly double, what will it be?
I take accountability. I wouldn't put the blame.
You're a much better man than me. I'd blame something like, silly, like, I forgot to wash the dishes. I will blame that on the ghostly. I didn't put those dishes down there. It must be the ghost.
So now you know who he is scared of.
My wife.
He's
yes.
truly scared of us. I wasn't gonna say it. But for me, I'm a little bit of like in between both of you. I wouldn't blame anything because I think everything happens for a reason. And also down to the fact that I will meet my doppelganger. Then I will ask my doppelganger, hey, if you live in the future, 4D number, come give me some number. Let's get rich. If I get rich, somehow in your dimension, you also get rich. So we get rich together. Let's work together, man.
I love every single plot twist you have to these questions. I love it.
Yeah. What about you, Raihan?
It really depends if my ghostly double is an evil version of me or a nicer version of me. Yeah. I mean, if it's a nicer version of me, I wouldn't blame. But if it's an evil version of me,
it's all your fault.
yeah, it's all your fault. I don't know. It might be a very, very evil version of me who scams people or etc. It's like,
Actually, that's true, huh?
yeah,
Oh my God.
It's true. Huh?
You know what it means, right? Based on my answer, I'm the evil doppelganger.
Well, you don't wash dishes, so that's evil.
That is evil. That is evil.
So yeah, I have two takes: nice or naughty.
Very good. All right, so it's time for us to wrap up on the double. Kyle, what's our morbid fact of the day?
Okay, I don't know if Art knows this, but like supposedly, right, Abraham Lincoln, the ex-US president, actually saw his doppelganger like before he died. So his wife told him that it was a bad omen, that he would finish his first term, but not his second term as president. And that premonition became true because he was assassinated.
Yeah, I did read up on his assassination and the lead ups to it. There are I think President Lincoln has thousands and thousands of books written about him. I went to visit the theater where he was assassinated.
Oh, wow.
This was probably 2-3 months ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was at the theater where he was assassinated, and also the house across the street where he was ushered to, where he eventually died. So in the lobby area, they piled all the books that has been written about him, and to add on to Kyle, basically he had a premonition. But it's written in different forms, in forms of him seeing his own death, him seeing a doppelganger of himself, and he was he was warned about what was going to happen. Yeah. But the experience of being at the actual location was very profound for me, because for so many reasons, I don't know why I was very in tune with wanting to visit. Because it's my second time in DC, but I think it's because it's the history behind Lincoln and how he was, he was beyond his times in abolishing slavery and everything. But I wanted to experience the theater, whether I be, what kind of energies I would feel, and I didn't feel a negative tone to the theater nor the house. But it was more just more solemn, more kind of more of a calm sadness, not anything volatile or anything, being in that space. But interesting fact, and interesting that I just went to visit the theater.
Perhaps it was fated.
Yeah.
It was fated that he visit, then he can talk about it on this episode.
Of course.
Yeah,
Yes. Definitely.
Manifest.
All according to the manifestation.
Yeah.
Wow. Right, so thank you once again, Art, for joining us. And thank you to all of you for tuning in to Tales from Incredible Tales. New episodes go up weekly on MeWatch, MeListen, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
My name is Utt.
My name is Wayne.
My name is Kyle.
My name is Raihan, and we will see you next time.